10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Respected Puan Noraini Mohtar, Chief Librarian, Dar al-Hikmah Library, IIUM. Respected panelists for today, Associate Professor Dr. Farahidah Mohammad from Kuliah of Pharmacy and Associate Professor Dr. Mohammad Yazid bin Kepli from Ahmad Ibrahim Kuliah of Laws, academics and researchers, senior officials, head of departments, head of units, and colleagues from Dar al-Hikmah Library, IIUM, officers within IIUM and without, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good evening. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. In the name of Allah, most gracious and most merciful, praise be to Allah, the cherisher and sustainer of the world, and blessings be on our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family and his companions. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Dar al-Hikmah Library, we wish to extend our warm welcome and thank you to our special guest and all participants to this auspicious session on Research Fast Talk with a team experts in action. As IIUM is heading towards responsible research and innovation and humanizing education, researchers started to perform more impactful research which are beyond academia. Thus, the main objective of this session is to provide a platform for them to share their research to the public. Hopefully, all of us will be able to reap as many fruitful inputs and tips, and it could also motivate us in performing any good deeds in general and research project in particular that could benefit others more. We will have a number of series of Research Fast Talk this year, and this is series number 3. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, to gain barakah of our events, let us recite Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored today to have our invited panelists to share their research experience with us within 45 minutes each. While listening to them, you are free to post questions in the chat box provided, and we will read the questions during the Q&A session. It is my pleasure to introduce our first panelist for today, Associate Professor Dr. Farahidah Mohammad, a Mawaryan, received Bachelor Science in Pharmacy from Strathclyde University in 1999. Used to work at the community pharmacies and government hospitals before decided to pursue PhD in 2004. She obtained her PhD in 2008 from Strathclyde Institute of Pharmacy and Biomedical Sciences, Scotland. She has been leading various research projects funded by various agencies and ministries. She had also received industrial grants to lead and coordinate GMP associated trainings. She had participated in more than 30 international conferences, has more than 30 publications, and had supervised more than 17 postgraduate master and PhD students. Total research grants received amounting Ringgit Malaysia 2.4 million as PI for 9 research projects. She was with iKool Sendirian Berhad as acting CEO from August 2014 and left iKool for good in January 2021. Recently, she has been appointed as Deputy Director, Innovation and Commercialization Unit RMC IIUM. Currently, her research team focusing on designing various dosage forms by fusioning contemporary medicine with prophetic, natural, traditional products with the aim to create synergistic effects, to reduce overall toxicity, to improve compliance, and to reduce the overall treatment cost. 4 of her research products have been commercialized, and she had become one of the finalists for the Award of Malaysia Commercialization Year (MCY), organized by MOSTI in 2017. While with iKool, towards the end of 2017, iKool has been awarded a government tender to supply one of her research products, namely iJasic and iSalic, for 4 years with tender value ringgit Malaysia 5 million. She has been invited as speaker or panelist in various platforms in Ministry of Health, several universities and international levels. She is also a committee member of DUNAS, Dasar Ubat Nasional, Halal Technical Committee. She has been nominated by IIUM as Merdeka Award nominees for 2016. Being an academician, she also received several awards at several international conferences. In 2016, she received the Most Outstanding Researcher Award at CREAM IIUM. In 2018, she was the top most Myra contributor for IIUM, a recognition received during IIUM Quality Day. In 2019, she received the first commercialization award during IIUM Takrim Day. She had and has been appointed as external examiners for undergraduate programs at International Medical University Malaysia, UNIZA, and UniKL. Letters, one more of her research products just received MAL number for NPRA, National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency, that is paracetamol honey suspension. However, yet to be launched. And now, presenting to you, ladies and gentlemen, Associate Professor Dr. Farahidah Mohammad to share her research project with us entitled GMP Process for iKool and Enhanced Aromatherapy Vapour from Bench to Market. Over to you, Dr. Farahidah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala mursalin wa ala alihi washabbihi ajmain. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad an-nuri dzati wa sirri fi sa'iril asma'i wa sifat. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammadin al-Fatih wal khatimi lima sabaq wa nasiril haqq bil haqq wal hadi ila siratikal mustaqim. Ala alihi wa sahbihi haqqa qadrihi wa miqdari azim amam. Alhamdulillah, organizer, for inviting me to speak today. So today's topic is on iKool. I'm going to share as simple as possible to the audience GMP process of iKool and enhanced aromatherapy vapour from bench to market. Inshallah. So allow me to share a little bit on intellectual properties of iKool before I go further. This iKool, we invented the name in 2014 and we registered the trademark, and we have received the trademark of iKool in 2014 as the numbers here registered 2014. Okay, and we also have a copyright for the label stating the ingredients. And this IPs of iKool, we have licensed to Pharma since this year, early of this year. The trademark and the copyright, all of the above, and also the trade secret, which is actually a set of documents about 50 pages. We call this document as Master Formula of iKool. Right. So now I'm going to proceed to walk you through on my in my lectures. We are going to have this outline of the slides today. First of all, I'm going to talk about a little bit on R&D stage of iKool, and we share on lab scale formulation and a little bit on halal evaluation, and then we go further to scale up and fulfillment of regulatory requirement, and very little on document preparation for registration, and we'll touch more on GMP manufacturing process of registered iKool. And finally, I'm going to close with the iKool usage in COVID-19 patients. I found it very relevant in our pandemic time. Okay, R&D stage of iKool, lab scale formulation. Okay, for systematic development of any R&D products, first of all, we need to start with defining our quality target product profile or quality target profile. Okay, we can name it as QTP or QTPP. Okay, first, for pharmaceutical products, and this is part of GMP or quality by design approach, where we determine all these quality target product. We need to first determine the route of administration, where which is the route of administration we want to design for our products. Okay, and we determine the therapeutic category, the dosage form, and the active ingredients we want to employ in the formulations. And of course, we need to have the excipients, relevant excipients incorporated in the formulation, and what is the expected or what we want on the appearance, texture, and the smell of the products. So for iKool, we want it to be administered via topical administration, and the therapeutic category is under cough and cold, and the dosage form is ointment based. Okay, we select ointment based, not cream, not lotion, but ointment based. And the active ingredients we selected actually based on a reference product, which is Vicks. Vicks also employed similar ingredients, but Vicks do not have peppermint oil. Okay, and the difference between Vicks and iKool is that for Vicks, they have a very little consideration for each of the ingredients here, and of course, they don't have the peppermint oil. And for excipients, we also employ different type of excipients as compared to Vicks. The rest are very natural. We want the appearance to be caused by the natural color of the actives and the bases, and the texture not too hard, easily spreadable, and we want a natural smells from the actives. So first of all, as part of the quality by design for therapeutic pharmaceutical products, we need to determine this quality target profile. So this is the quality target product profile for phase 1. And when after we determine that QTP, we can start a formulate at the lab scale, small scale, maybe just about 10 gram of formulation each time. Okay, for iKool, it's quite a very simple formulation, ointment based. So what we did is we employ this one factor at a time. So we just maintain the mixing speed, maintain the sequence of adding the ingredients, we maintain the concentration of active ingredients, but we varying the ratios of the bases. So the factor that we study here is the ratios, different ratio of the bases. So after we did this, it's about more than 20 ratios that we tested, and we just do a very simple characterization based on phase separation test. After we formulate the ointment, we centrifuge the ointment to check whether this kind of force to phase separate the ointment, whether the oil will separate it from the bases or not, is just by using centrifuge machine. Okay, after we got several stable ointments prepared, whereby these stable ointments, they manage to stay stable following centrifugation. Okay, we want to test the most appropriate texture. We test this using human subjects to select the best appearance, texture, and the smell. This is actually simply by using the staffs around us, the personnel, our colleagues around us. Okay, for the quality of the pharmaceutical products, the development will also need will also need us to determine the critical quality attributes CQA. Okay, apart from the QTP, we need to have a CQA, and this CQA terms is actually part of regulatory requirement. When we want to submit the data for the registration later on, there is one of the document needed to determine or to spell out what is the CQA of the products. Okay. So for the CQA, I also divided into two phases. Phase one is the halal parts of the raw materials. So we need to do the halal evaluation internally. If we just have a research team, we need to source the documents appropriately. But before that, of course, we need to know how to evaluate and do halal endorsement. Okay, based on this, we need to have of course, for all raw materials, what we need to ask from the supplier is the halal certificate. If they don't have, we need to move on the next document, which is COA and the process flow. That process flow or the halal declaration must be supported with production process flow chart. So by having the process flow chart, we can actually check which in the process of making or manufacturing the ingredients that you want to employ, there could be certain ingredients that is doubtful. Okay, so we need to check the origin and nature of the ingredients. So these are the simplified version of how we do the halal evaluation. Right, then we can actually conclude the lab scale formulation. Okay, the formulation at lab scale completed. Now we are ready to scale up. Because iKool employing all the ingredients that already have an established safety profile, we don't really need to go for clinical trial. So that's why the formulation at lab scale now completed. We're ready to scale up, and before we scale up and before we determine other quality profile at phase 2, we need to actually match with equipment of industry partner. So before that, of course, we need to find an industry partner who are willing to commercialize this product. In this case, for iKool, since we are the lecturers, the research team is Kuliah Pharmacy researchers. Next to us is iKool Mohammad. We have the plants managed by iKool. So iKool Mohammad is our industry partner in this case for iKool. For the second phase of quality target product profile, once we know our industry partner, we know what equipment they have, and we also know the capacity of the equipment that they have. Now we know what is the limitation and what is the strength. So for iKool Berhad, they have the equipment for mixing that can be used for our ointment preparation, our ointment manufacturing, and their equipment for packing or packaging is the semi-auto tube filling machine. So in this case, we already know these two information. So now we going to determine we determine the quality target product profile in phase 2, which is the what type of packaging you want to use and what is the SKU. So in this case here, the semi-auto tube filling machine in the plant is only suitable to fill using collapsible tube of aluminium. So in this case, our chosen or selected packaging type is the aluminium collapsible tube. We cannot choose HDPE squeezable tube. We cannot choose bottle tube or jar tube. Okay, so that's why we proceed with this type of packaging based on what industry partners have. On the SKU parts, we selected 20 gram because this is the limit of the semi-auto tube filling machine available in iKool. So for the phase 2, we can also determine now the shelf life target based on the packaging. We would like to have 3 years of stability study, real-time stability studies to be done because we want to target the 3 years shelf life. Okay, after that, we can now determine the critical quality attributes for phase 2 for this iKool. Okay, first of all, based on the tube, the aluminium, what is the overall packaging. This is just a description, but this description is important when you want to submit the data for registration. These are what they ask. Okay, overall packaging. They are also asking us on the characteristic. What is the CQA for our iKool? So these are the CQA for our iKool. Whitish ointment with aromatic odor of eucalyptus oil and camphor with cool sensation of menthol. This is actually depending on the researchers how they want to put and describe their products. And then based on the tube as the packaging, we need to counter check or cross check with the pharmacopoeia. What kind of testing needed as one of the important tests for the tube. Okay, when we package the pharmaceutical in a tube form, what is kind of test? So one of the tests is minimum fill. So this is one of the CQA that we have to put in the CQA document. Okay, so some of the quality attributes is determined by us in-house, and some of them must be followed or depending on what is written in the pharmacopoeia. In this case, you are using USP. Okay, another CQA, very critical to any pharmaceutical products, especially for OTC and prescribed medicines, is the assay. So this assay, since iKool is having 4 active pharmaceutical ingredients, so we have to do all 4 assay on the 4 active ingredients. And the percentage range of percentage here actually determined by some guidelines, okay? And we combine some guidelines and we come up with this range of specification for the assay part of iKool. Next thing for the CQA is the microbial limit test, and this is another regulatory requirement available in the pharmacopoeia related to ointment or topical preparation. Okay, so it is actually based on the pharmacopoeia, and then we put in the data, the required data here for the CQA. And this CQA document is very important. As I mentioned earlier, it needs a written one, documented, to be submitted later for registration. Right, once we completed that part, we now need to do the scale up. And this scale up actually part of the GMP. It needs a GMP environment and it needs a GMP practice in terms of recording the data whenever we perform the test in the lab practice must be also GMP associated or controlled by GMP. Okay, so when we do the scale up, we actually getting or gathering all data to fulfill the regulatory requirement. So for iKool, we did the scale up, alhamdulillah, in facilities, at the facilities of Kuliah Pharmacy, IIUM. This is our pretty building, Kuliah Pharmacy. We have our production area, the plant, the factory, pharmaceutical factory, managed by iKool, Pharmacy Berhad. We have the QC labs that control the, that is part of the all GMP system of the iKool Berhad. Okay, the QC lab has 2 times the to control, to do the quality testing for the chemistry and to do the quality testing for the microbiological parts of the pharmaceutical products. And we also have R&D labs. Okay, when I mentioned just earlier on the what kind of machine that our industry partner have, when we check, we have these 2. Homogeneous mixer of 100 kilogram capacity and semi-auto filling machine that is suitable only for aluminum tube. Okay, the maximum is 20 gram fill tube. So these are the available equipment at iKool. So based on the availability of the equipment and type of the machine, how the machine, the mechanism of mixing, we has to suit with our preparation, the mixing process of our ointment at lab scale. because lab scale, we don't have this machine. The mechanism of mixing is also different. So we need to design properly the scale up process. Because now we convert the ointment process from lab scale to the production scale. Right. While doing all the scale up, we are actually preparing all the documents for registration. Because when we design the scale up process, we are actually drafting a document, important document called batch manufacturing record. And for the automatic, the semi-auto filling machine, we are also actually drafting a document known as batch packaging record. For iKool, these are the total documents we prepared, 36 documents. Okay. Some of the document of 44 pages, some 50 pages, etc., etc. Okay, and it is very important to know that these documents cannot be prepared by only the researchers team or involving the final manufacturer that are going to produce the products. Okay, it needs to be prepared under GMP control document under a quality management system of that GMP of the industry. Okay, because at lab level we don't have this kind of quality management system. So we, of course, before we do the scale out, we need to find the industrial partner and we do together. Okay, 36 documents prepared, 8 documents during lab scale, and 31 documents during scale up process. Oh, sorry. Forgot to minus this. So total is 36. Okay. I will share only 2 documents that is not protected by any IP regulations or any trade secret. So it is 2 of the documents I'm going to share here. It is known as remote risalah maklumat ubat pesakit. Okay, that we have to prepare. It needs to have the name of the products, it needs to have the ingredients, and it needs to have the protocol, how to use this iKool, what is the indications, what is the adverse effect, etc., etc. So this document we already uploaded during the registration at the NPRA web, and it is available for public use. You can go anyone can go to NPRA product search and search for iKool, and you can download this remote. Okay, we also prepared the English version. It is the Consumer Medication Information Leaflet, removed in English. Okay, well, one of the challenging things is when we do the translation, it needs to be very, very specific and very consistent from English to the Malay. Okay, not even a single word is redundant. All of this is being checked by the NPRA officer during registration. Okay, this slide is showing you where we can register the products. Quest 3 Plus online system for product registration. So here the site where we submitted all documents online. Okay. And we submit, it begins with the screening. So NPRA will screen first for any lack of document, lack of the quality data, etc., and they will give the feedback to us before they start to do the evaluation. So we need to pass the screening phase first before we can even have the evaluation phase. Evaluation phase will usually take 4 months for OTC products and before we get the MAN number. Okay, Alhamdulillah, finally MAN number for iKool has been obtained in July 2020. Okay, as you can see here, the holder address is mentioned and the manufacturing address is iKool. Alright, so now I'm going to walk you through on GMP manufacturing process of iKool before it can be sold to the public. So iKool Pharma Sdn Bhd is the manufacturer. I would like to just refresh or share with you the concept of GMP. It's a concept that to ensure products are consistently manufactured. It must be consistent in quality. It must be to confer or to ensure it will give a consistent product efficacy. So the quality first must be consistent and manufactured under a control procedures, under a control environment. Okay, to yield consistent product quality based on appropriate quality standards. Okay, these are the GMP. All must be consistent. So how to make it consistent is to have a control procedures and make sure the environment when we prepare or manufacture the products is under control environment. So briefly for GMP scopes, it covers 4 aspects, which is quality control, production, engineering, and quality assurance. These are just a simplified GMP scopes I'm going to share today. So first of all, GMP quality control. The quality control department, usually their responsibility is to test the raw materials quality. The packaging materials need to also be tested, and the finished product. After we manufactured, we need to test the finished product. And quality control department also responsible to monitor the quality of the water used in the plant during manufacturing. We have a sophisticated expensive system, water purification system, to yield a quality pharmaceutical grade water in the plant. So this quality of the water is being monitored regularly by quality control department. They need to be maintained in terms of their conductivity, in terms of their pH, their total organic carbon, and their microbial count. Okay. Apart from that, the air quality inside the manufacturing area is also need to be monitored regularly. So these are the GMP aspects that really need to be taken care of and expensive to maintain. Okay, for GMP production, production scope is the one that production departments are the one who manufacture the products according to an approved process. Okay, when we do the scale up, we need to draft a document, set of documents. So this set of documents we already refined and review, initiated, review, revise a few cycles before we actually approve the process. The approved process is the one that we submitted for registration. Okay. And the manufacturing or production team are the one who knows how to operate the machines inside the plant. So they are also responsible to do the IPQC testing during manufacturing of any products. Okay, another department which is very important is engineering. They are the one responsible to maintain all the utilities and facilities inside the plant. Okay, they need to monitor the quality of utilities. The utilities are 2, water purification system and also HVAC system. Okay, HVAC system that control the quality of the air coming inside the plant during production. So they are also responsible to monitor quality and status of production equipment. Of course, they need to have the calibration master list and maintain all the equipment, critical equipment for calibration and preventive maintenance to prevent associated or potential breakdown. Okay, and finally, we need to have a quality assurance. These are the departments that manage the risk. They are the one initiated all the quality management system in the plant, in the industry, and they are the one who control the document and documentations, and also they're responsible for to fulfill all the regulatory requirement on the product registration and product complaint. Okay. When we produce a lot of products and our products reach a lot more of publics, of course, in one out of maybe 100,000 tubes, there is some defect. So product complaint must be in place. The procedures to do the training on product complaint is also there. Must be trained first. And this product complaint training is one of the aspect when NPRA auditor come to inspect the site. They also ask for the product complaint training. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to explain on the quality control, all the GMP aspects for manufacturing of iKool. Okay. So first of all, incoming raw materials of iKool. Of course, not the leaves, only the extract that we bought. Okay, the leaf is not, just some illustration. Okay, first of all, the raw materials arrive at the warehouse and we place at the quarantine area. Okay, and we will record all the details on the raw materials that arrive, and we call the personnel from QC to do sampling, and they will sample all the active pharmaceutical ingredients. Okay, and brought to the QC lab to be tested based on the approved documents. Everything is approved. That's why we can assure that by following this GMP practice, the product consistency is there. Okay, sorry. Okay, once we tested, sample and tested all the raw materials, and finally all the data will be sent to QA department. QA department will check, review, and they will approve and ready for production. So at the production area, the production personnel will do the manufacturing based on the approved batch manufacturing record that already been prepared during the scale up. Okay, and of course during the scale up, we also have to determine what kind of IPQC test that we need to do. Okay, and after that we proceed to the, after all the mixing is done, now we proceed to the filling into tube. And the filling into tube is also based on the approved document called batch packaging record. Okay, I hope this picture is good enough and large enough to be seen and read. Okay, for this is a little bit on infographic on the production in GMP factory for iKool 20 gram. Okay, first of all, we start with performing the line clearance in the winging area. Okay, and then we start to dispense all the raw materials. Approved raw materials brought from the warehouse. And transferred to the winging area and start to dispense all the raw materials based on the batch manufacturing record. Okay, after it has been weighed and verified, it will we will print the labels and paste on the BMR, and once they are ready, all the raw materials transferred to manufacturing room. Okay, everything happen inside the controlled environment. Okay, so when we transfer to manufacturing room, of course, each of the room we need to perform line clearance. Okay, to just check what is the quality of the air inside the room before we start the manufacturing, and to check the cleanliness and readiness of the equipment, of the manufacturing equipment. So we can, if everything is okay, line clearance say everything is okay, and we can start mixing. Okay, for iKool we can start mixing using the homogeneous mixer. Okay, after we mix, we will perform some IPQC tests. In this case, we will sample the top, mid, and bottom of the machine and send for IPQC test to test for homogeneity. And after that, we discharge the molten ointment into a tank, whereby the tank will be now transferred to intermediate room. So everything happen in controlled environment, and at the intermediate room, we are going to store and to let it cool down. Okay, and while waiting for the temperature to cool down all of the molten ointment, we will collect all the waste. The waste can happen from the tools that we use to weight, to dispense raw material. It can happen inside the transferring tubes, or it can happen inside the mixing tank. Okay, so need to collect all the waste and weight. Because these are part of the accountability final record before we proceed to the packaging. Okay, so some of the after we store them, we need to perform efficacy test and then transfer to tank to fill to the filling room area. Okay. The next is to transfer the fill tube to cutting room. Okay, after we have filled all the ointments into tubes, okay, these are the process of cutting and approval process. Next is the cutting and approval process. So after we have filled the ointment into the tube, we now transfer them to the cutting room and need to print batch number, manufacturing number, and the expiry dates on the tubes and on the box. Okay. Then we set the machine for hologram sticking on the box. Alhamdulillah, we managed to procure automated machine to paste the hologram. Otherwise, before this, we paste them manually. Okay, if one batch we have 2,000 over tubes, we need to do it manually, sticking the hologram onto the box. Okay. After the hologram, we need to insert the tube and leaflet into the box and then arrange the box in the brown shipper. Okay, not yet finished. We need to send sample to the QC lab for finished product testing. Okay, the QC personnel will perform the finished product QC test, and once they are happy, they will fill the BMR, they will fill the QC results document. Everything are approved documents, and the results sent to QA. Okay, QA is the last department who will review and check all everything is inconsistent and in order before they approve for iKool to be released to the market. Okay, just to share QC testing for finished product, they need to do the assay of active ingredients. This may take 2 weeks, and microbial limit test also 2 weeks, and minimum fill weight. Okay, so if everything is in order, the quality assurance department, they are the one responsible to issue all the, because they manage and control all the documents. The BMR is the one that have the batch written batch number for each of the batch of the iKool. Okay, let's say for today we produce 5 batches. The 5 BMR will be issued by QA department together with their 5 BPR. Okay, so these documents are managed and controlled by QC department. All the field documents then we submitted to QA, ready for review and their approval for final release. Okay, so QA department is the one issue the final approval, and after they issue the final approval, the products of iKool, the finished product just now from the production area already transferred to the storage area, but at the quarantine area. And now after the final approval by QA, this product can be moved to the approved area, and sales and marketing people can start selling. Okay. So I still have some time to just share some iKool usage in COVID-19 patients. About the GMP process, I'm done now. I'm going to just share some iKool usage in COVID-19 patients. Okay, as everyone can see here, this iKool is a new image of iKool packaging. Okay, we have registration number. We have approved indication for cough, blocked nose, muscle ache, and pain due to cold. Okay, and we also have the Halal certified. So I think everyone is very familiar with these symptoms: cough, blocked nose, muscle ache. I didn't put here the sore throat. Okay, the symptoms are very similar to COVID-19 patient symptoms. So that's why the usage of iKool is very relevant for COVID-19 patients. In terms of product safety profiles, there are three major routes of drugs formulated in iKool that they can enter the body through pulmonary, through the skin, and through the nasal. Okay. In terms of safety, there are studies in animals toxicology. Everything is there, and they are very safe. Okay. Even if you apply, say 11 milligram times 2, you still have very big safety margin. Okay. You can apply at the sore throat area, outside your sore throat area, of course, the chest, back of the chest, and the area of the nose. Okay. About these are all the slides or the some articles mention about the effects therapeutically and some pharmacological effect of all the ingredients. Just show it very quickly. Okay, say the L-menthol is actually naturally occurring menthol isomer. They are very and more effective than the synthetic menthol. Okay, about the eucalyptus oil, recent study in 2019, we already formulated earlier than that, but recent study, more studies coming up for the eucalyptus oil, which the active ingredient is actually in the eucalyptus oil. The major compounds is 1,8-cineol. Okay, 70% 1,8-cineol in eucalyptus oil. They can have effect, a very good one, on chronic rhinosinusitis. So iKool do have set 10% of eucalyptus oil. For the eucalyptus oil that we use pharma grade eucalyptus oil, whereby we need to, when we do the raw material testing, we need to ensure that 1,8-cineol is present in more than 70% in the eucalyptus oil. Okay, so our iKool is using a very high quality pharma grade eucalyptus oil. There are more studies on 1,8-cineol. And about the camphor. Camphor is a very classical active ingredients, very good, but need to use in a appropriate way. And peppermint oil, where Vicks do not have, but we have at 5%. It has a review study on various type of viruses here. If anyone would like to know more, I can share later. Okay. Right, this is just to show you the site of application, where to apply the iKool. iKool is an ointment, you just squeeze a bit and you can apply here. And then you can inhale. So these are for inhalation purpose, and this for the sore throat area that you can apply. And we are very sure that the absorption of drugs can occur because there are blood supply here. Okay. The active thermodynamic process that provided by the continuous blood flow will ensure the drugs it can diffuse into your bloodstream. These are another site that we can apply on the chest, back of the chest. And finally, this is the summary before I end my lecture, my talk today. Okay, GMP is the cornerstone of way to ensure consistency in products quality. Okay, when we ensure products quality, we can ensure the efficacy of the products. And iKool is a fusion medicine blended with essential oils, eucalyptus and peppermint oil, and established drugs. That's why I call fusion medicine the combination between natural products and drugs, contemporary medicines. Although camphor and menthol is not really contemporary, but they are already been used and in the non-scheduled poison. Okay. So iKool is an innovative medicine that utilizes different routes of drug administration, namely by topical and inhalation. We don't need any inhaler, medical device inhaler to inhale iKool, but we can just apply and inhale. All four active pharmaceutical ingredients have an established safety profiles, and we can guarantee the drug absorption occurred at recommended areas. Okay, and iKool have wide range of use, including rhinosinusitis as anti-cough or relieve the cough and cold and flu symptoms. Okay, and iKool, and finally, we can say that iKool is having awesomeness attributes, and these are the best part where we can have a superior halal even products, not only prepared in a hygienic condition. We can control or ensure the consistency on the product's quality, but also superior in terms of it can really treat your all the symptoms, and you can if we use for our children, for ourselves is also very effective. For ourselves is also very of iKool as a good analgesic ointment, or can be used for cold and flu symptoms for patients on warfarin. Okay, patients on warfarin, they cannot take or use medicines that has hot effect. Usually the hot is being given by medical bleed, have some bleeding, because patient with warfarin, they are susceptible to bleed. That's why iKool is there to help them. All right, with that, I think wabillahi taufiq.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farahidah Mohammad, for your presentation. It is indeed a very informative and interesting sharing. Okay, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are now have the pleasure to invite our second panelist for today. Before we start, let me introduce you to our respected panelists. Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Yazid bin Zul Kepli graduated from the International Islamic University Malaysia in 2005. Shortly thereafter, he completed his master's degree and Sharia diploma from the same university. Dr. Muhammad Yazid then completed his PhD on international trade law in the University of Hong Kong. Dr. Muhammad Yazid is currently a law lecturer and consultant at International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM. Prior to this, he was an advocate and solicitor and a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. Dr. Muhammad Yazid has a wealth of practical experience in anti-money laundering and anti-terrorism financing, international trade law, and Islamic finance. He is actively involved in teaching, curriculum development, and research in the said areas. He has conducted courses and seminars for various financial institutions and shipping companies over the years, including Public Bank Berhad, Standard Chartered Bank, Maybank, and CIMB. Ladies and gentlemen, without delay, let us invite Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Yazid bin Zulkifli to share his research project entitled Cryptocurrency and Digital Assets Issues and Challenges from Illegal Mining to Inheritance Issues. Over to you, Doctor.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Am I audible? Okay, first let me share the screen. Let me make it full screen first. Okay, the title for my presentation is Cryptocurrency and Digital Assets, Issues and Challenges from Illegal Mining to Inheritance Issues. My name is Associate Prof. Dr. Muhammad Yazid Zulkifli, and my email address is maritime@ium.edumai. So if there's any question afterward, it can also be forwarded to my email address. Okay, a little bit for anyone who want to learn, anyone who want to know better about cryptocurrency and digital asset law in Malaysia. My latest textbook is already available in the market. It's available in Kinokuniya, and you can also purchase it online. The title is Cryptocurrency and Digital Assets Law in Malaysia by Dr. Mohamed Yazid Zulkifli and Nur Alin Hanisah. Before that, there's another book which focus more on anti-money laundering aspect. This one, the title is Anti-Money Laundering and Counter Financing of Terrorism Law in Malaysia. Okay, first let me explain a little bit about the format of this presentation. Throughout this presentation, I'll be covering four main issues. The first one is what are cryptocurrencies and digital assets. The second one is how they operate. The third one is on issues and challenges, while the fourth one is on recommendation and suggestions. The first one, what are cryptocurrencies and digital assets? Okay, when we talk about cryptocurrency, many people refer to Bitcoin, but the truth is there are so many cryptocurrency nowadays. We have Bitcoin, we have Ethereum, we have Binance Coin, we have XRP, we have Cardano, we have a dozen type of different cryptocurrency. And when we talk about digital asset, nowadays we must take note that assets are not limited to the traditional asset like money in bank or real estate, but we also have digital asset. Digital asset can also refer even to our social media, which can be monetized for money purpose. For example, like YouTube. We have YouTube, a very popular YouTube channel, and we make a lot of money from advertisement, for example. Okay, some make millions from advertisement. So because of this monetization, this kind of digital assets can also be very valuable. Okay, first, when we talk about cryptocurrency, we need to understand a few basic things first. What is cryptocurrency? Is it currency? Is it like ringgit Malaysia? Adakah bila kita sebut tentang cryptocurrency ni lebih kurang sama macam duit ringgit, US dollar dan sebagainya? Is it like a currency? The truth is, the answer is no. When we talk about, although the name is cryptocurrency is actually not really a currency in the usual sense. We do not go to shop and purchase things using Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency. When we talk about currency is often issued by the central bank, or in other words, by the government. But when we talk about Bitcoin, for example, Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies are not issued by the government. Therefore, it is not really accurate to consider this cryptocurrency like Bitcoin as currency. So it's not really a currency. So is it like online banking? I know nowadays we have Maybank to you, we have CIMB Click. Okay, there are certain similarity in which we can also transfer Bitcoin easily from one location to another, from one account to another. But actually, cryptocurrency is also very different from online banking. When we talk about online banking, CIMB Click or Maybank to you, we are still referring to paper money in the end. Still referring to the banknotes. Kita masih merujuk kepada duit kertas. Sekalipun kita gunakan online banking, tapi pada masa yang sama, duit masih duit ringgit sebagai contoh. Masih currency. We can, for example, withdraw the money from the ATM machine. So cryptocurrency is different from currency. Cryptocurrency is also different from online banking. So is it just a scam? For example, one of the most well-known investors in the world said that out of our 49 billion, we haven't moved any to Bitcoin. Many believe that this Bitcoin and these cryptocurrencies are just a bubble, just a scam. There's nothing to it. So is that it when we talk about crypto? Is it just a scam? Okay, let us talk a little bit about evolution of money first in order to understand the nature of cryptocurrency and all. Okay, in the past, long time ago, people use barter system. Kan, kita guna pertukaran barter. But barter system can be very difficult. How can we determine the exact measurement for exchanges? For example, I have a cow and then you have orange. It can be complicated to exchange my one cow with your oranges. So barter system carry with it a lot of problem. And then they also have, after some time, they have shell money, they have crude metal coin, they have precious metal coin, gold, silver for a very long time. And then in the past, they also have some form of paper money. And then most of the time, people go for gold and silver. And then we have gold backed US dollar, for example. And then after some time, the work proceed with charge card, and then they have credit card, and then they go for US dollar. But again, in 1971, the United States officially goes off the gold standard. In simple word, nowadays when we talk about paper money, bila kita cakap pasal duit, tidak lagi dilindungi oleh emas. Okay, the United States officially goes off the gold standard. In the past, there's a belief that if a country want to print money, the printing of money must be commensurate, must be proportionate to the gold reserve that the central bank have, that the issuer possess. But in 1971, the United States officially goes off the gold standard and the rest of the world follow. The rest of the world follow. Nowadays, when we talk about banknotes, bila kita cakap pasal duit kertas, actually it's just a piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper. In a way, it's just like IOU. Just like IOU paper. And then after some time, we have online shopping, we have online business and all that. And then nowadays, we have mobile payment. We have mobile payment, we have Alipay, we have Touch and Go e-wallet and all that. So briefly everyone, this is the evolution of money. But in 2008, a big problem occurred. Okay, in 2008, we have this financial crisis. During the same year, we have the introduction of Bitcoin. Okay, let me share the slide first and talk a little bit about the financial crisis and the consequence to the monetary system. Okay, throughout the slides, you have seen how money evolve. Bila kita sebut tentang duit tu berubah kan. Kita bukan sentiasa pakai duit kertas. Sebagai contoh, pada zaman dulu, selama beribu tahun orang menggunakan emas dan perak. For thousands of years, people use gold and silver. People use gold and silver because of the intrinsic value of gold and silver. It doesn't matter whether you are from China or whether you are from Malaya or whether you are from India. When we talk about gold, for example, gold coins are largely accepted because it doesn't matter. Even if you are from China, we can still do transaction using gold coin because the value is global. The value is global and universal. Even after thousands of years, people still want gold and silver. So for thousands of years, people go for gold and silver. But then after that, there's an evolution of money. People start using paper money. Okay, banknotes. Kita mula menggunakan duit kertas. Why? One of the reason, because you might argue that it's more convenient and all that. But still, it's just paper. Hanyalah duit kertas. Paper money can lose value. A simple example is war. We see war in various parts of the world. For example, in Iraq, ada peperangan dekat Iraq. And then we have war in Syria. And whenever we have this unfortunate events like war, we can see the value of paper money become mostly like worthless. Duit kertas jadi tak ada nilai bila berlaku peperangan. But it's not just that. It's not just that. When we talk about paper money, okay, currently I've stopped sharing the slide. I will share it back after this. Okay, when we talk about paper money, there are certain problems. One of the big problem is the fact that paper money can become worthless in certain event like war or collapse of financial system. I believe many of the audience still remember about the global financial crisis. The global financial crisis in 2008. Because of the global financial crisis, some countries went bankrupt. Many financial institutions went bankrupt together with the saving of all people. Kan, waktu krisis kewangan global dulu, banyak negara yang bankrupt, lepas tu ada juga bank-bank bankrupt semua, simpanan semua habis. So what happened is in around 2008, people lost trust when it come to paper money. During this year, a mysterious guy called Satoshi, he give a suggestion. He proposed that we go for an alternative monetary system. Let me share the slide first. Okay, so what is the alternative for the current monetary system? Okay, before I proceed, just to make sure we are at the same page, what is the current monetary system? Sistem kewangan sekarang, sistem duit sekarang, konsepnya macam mana? Konsepnya senang kan? Kerajaan cetak duit, kerajaan keluarkan duit. Kerajaan cetak duit lah. Sebanyak mana kerajaan cetak sebenarnya tak ada asas. Sebagai contoh, tidak berasaskan emas dan sebagainya. Kerajaan boleh cetak banyak, tapi adalah kesannya dari segi inflasi dan sebagainya. Tapi point dia ialah kuasa menguruskan duit, mencetakkan duit semuanya ada pada kerajaan. Can a government cancel a monetary system? For example, can a government cancel a banknote? Boleh tak kerajaan batalkan duit kertas yang sedang digunakan? The answer is yes. For example, recently the Indian government, they cancel the previous Indian rupee. So the old Indian rupee become without value. Okay, let me proceed with the sharing of the slide again. Okay, slide nampak ke? Okay, you can see, right? Okay. Okay, when you look at the past, we can see global financial crisis. Okay, now we are on the same page. Okay, what happened after the global financial crisis? We have what is known as trust issue. Okay, people stop believing in the government and they don't really trust the banking system so much. So during this time, what happened is that a mysterious entity introduced this Bitcoin. In 2008, the mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto introduced a blockchain-based Bitcoin as alternative monetary system that require no third party like banks or government. Reliance will be on the peer-to-peer blockchain technology. So far, throughout the recent history, we have been relying on the government. We have been relying on the government for the printing of paper money. Bila sebut tentang duit semua, benda-benda duit ni yang uruskan ialah kerajaan. Apa-apa pun kita serahkan pada kerajaan. But what happened is in 2008, this mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto suggested for the reliance on Bitcoin technology or blockchain technology instead of on government. By 2021, the original vision to use Bitcoin or cryptocurrency as alternative monetary system failed. Instead, mobile payment like Alipay was adopted. Cryptocurrency like Bitcoin end up as a very popular speculative digital asset. The meaning is like this. Kita semua tahu hakikatnya sekarang ni kita tidak menggunakan Bitcoin untuk bershopping di pasar malam. Kan? Kita tak pergi pasar malam beli barang guna Bitcoin. We do not go to the night market or to the supermarket and pay using Bitcoin. Instead, we make payment using mobile payment. We pay using our smartphone. We use Alipay, we use Touch and Go e-wallet and all that. But we do not use cryptocurrency. Therefore, in a way, the original vision to use Bitcoin or cryptocurrency as alternative monetary system failed because turned out people do not use Bitcoin or cryptocurrency to make payment. Instead, people use mobile payment. For example, in China, the penetration rate for mobile payment is very high. Okay, so cryptocurrency like asset, like Bitcoin, end up as a very popular speculative digital asset. So what is the meaning of that? Apa maksud sebenar speculative digital asset? Okay, the meaning is that people use it for investment purpose. Okay, if you look at the chart, the price for a single Bitcoin yesterday is around 271,000 for one Bitcoin. Harga satu Bitcoin semalam ialah 271,000. And if you look at the chart over the last 7 years, tengok carta tu kan, the one in the slide. A few years ago, the price for a single Bitcoin is just 872, hanya RM800 je. Hanya RM800. Can you imagine from RM800 investment, if you purchase a single Bitcoin many years back, when the price was 800, now the price is already 271,000. But if you look at the chart, you can see how unstable it is. How unstable it is. So we cannot use cryptocurrency for payment purpose because of the movement of price is not stable. It's like a roller coaster kan. Sekejap naik sampai 270,000, lepas tu jatuh balik jadi 140,000. So it's not good as a medium of payment, but it can be very interesting as a investment. Okay, as investment because it's very high risk, but at the same time it also mean high gain. Okay, when we talk about cryptocurrency, we need to take note that there are a lot of differences between paper money or fiat money or banknotes and cryptocurrency. For example, when we talk about paper money, we are talking about a physical medium of exchange. Sesuatu yang kita boleh pegang kan, duit kertas kan. But when we talk about cryptocurrency, it is digital. It is digital medium of exchange. When we talk about paper money, banknotes is represented by bill and coins. Biasanya fiat money ni kita duit kertas semua. But when we talk about cryptocurrency, instead of being represented by bill and coin, it is represented by digital things like private key and also a public piece of code or the public key. So every cryptocurrency like Bitcoin consists of two things. The first one is like the address or the public code or the public key, and the other one is the private key. The private key is similar to like a password to an email. Contohnya macam itulah, seperti password kepada email. Only if you have the access to the private key can you have a direct access to the cryptocurrency. Okay, when we talk about paper money, many people are more confident. Dia rasa confident kan bila dengar ada duit kertas, kita ada duit RM100 dalam poket semua kan. But if we think about it, paper money is more risky in a way because of unlimited supply. The government can produce as needed. Kerajaan boleh cetak je duit sebanyak mana yang kerajaan nak. But when we talk about cryptocurrency, the truth is that there is a limited supply. Cryptocurrency is not unlimited, and that alone is a very important factor. Okay, let me explain. For example, for Bitcoin, the system behind the Bitcoin technology, the algorithm, basically the system is designed that the maximum number of Bitcoin in circulation will only be 21 million. Jumlah keseluruhan Bitcoin kat dunia ni yang sistem keluarkan ialah 21 juta. Bitcoin takkan ada lebih daripada 21 juta. Once 21 million Bitcoin has been produced, this digital currency, that will be the end of it. The system will not produce any more new Bitcoin. But if we are to compare to paper money, it's unlimited. Kan? It's unlimited. Like in Zimbabwe, the government produce billions and billions and billions. Everyone become billionaire, but the money is not really with value. Kan? Dia harga bilion-bilion duit kertas dia tapi tak ada value. So there's a lot of technical issue as well related to this. Okay, little bit about how they operate. Macam mana sistem Bitcoin ni, ramai orang tertanya. Biasa dengar Bitcoin ni macam scam je kan. Sebenarnya macam mana kaedah, macam mana Bitcoin beroperasi. Okay, first we need to understand that the Bitcoin is actually based on this blockchain technology. Some of you might wonder, what is this blockchain technology? The simplest explanation is like this. Usually when we do transaction, we always rely on a third party. We rely on a third party. For example, duit kertas. Siapa yang cetak duit kertas? Contohnya, bank negara. The central bank is the one who printed the money. And for example, for online banking, who is in charge of the database? We rely on third party like bank. Contohnya CIMB. CIMB, they handle CIMB, click. Maybank handle Maybank to you. So all this time we rely on the third party, like the central bank to print the money, the bank to handle the online database, the online banking system, and all that. But when we talk about Bitcoin or this cryptocurrency, the idea is instead of relying on bank or government to handle all this money matter, to handle all this monetary system, why don't we rely on the technology? Everyone can download the software, can download the technology and become part of the technology. So the system behind Bitcoin is the blockchain. Basically, this blockchain is an incorruptible digital ledger of economic transaction that can be programmed to record not just financial transaction, but virtually everything of value. Okay, when we talk about Bitcoin, a simple explanation. Let's say we just refer to a situation where someone use a Bitcoin wallet. What happened when someone use a Bitcoin wallet? Okay, let's say we have this guy here, Rob. This Rob wanted to transfer some Bitcoin to his friend. First, he scanned the Laura's address, for example, his friend address, and then he fill in the amount, and then he send the Bitcoin. So he is the user. And then what happened is the wallet will sign in the transaction using the Rob's private key, and then the transaction is basically validated by other computers. So in other words, when we talk about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, there will be a machine there, or there will be it is a network based system where the network will verify the transaction instead of a single entity. Okay, I give one example. Let's say we talk about CIMB Click. I transfer my money from my account to your account, from my CIMB account to your CIMB account. Who will be the one who handle the transaction? The one who will be handling the transaction is of course the bank, right? CIMB is the one responsible for CIMB Click, and CIMB is the one who will approve the transaction. But when we talk about Bitcoin, we don't have a single entity like a single bank to approve the transfer or transaction. Instead, it's done collectively by the community, okay, by those in the system. So that's why it's more difficult to tamper with transaction using Bitcoin, because there is not a single entity to confirm the transaction, but instead everyone confirm the transaction. So all the record in the system will verify the transaction before it is accepted. Okay, in addition to Bitcoin, we have a lot of other cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ripple, Dogecoin, Peercoin. The most interesting thing about this cryptocurrency is not so much on the cryptocurrency itself like Bitcoin, but actually the technology behind it. For example, the blockchain technology. Since there are so many functions for this blockchain technology, but that can be covered in different sessions because that it will be too long to cover it. Let us just go to some of the more important one. We can skip many of the technical one. Okay, blockchain. Okay, what is the meaning of this blockchain? The simplest explanation is like this. When we make a transaction or transaction involving Bitcoin first, what happens is the transaction will be verified by the various computer in the system. Let's say, for example, we have 1 million computer. We have 1 million computer in the Bitcoin system. So when we do this transaction, we record something. For example, I transfer money to Dr. Farahidah, for example. Okay, I have Bitcoin, and then I transfer money from my account to Dr. Farahidah account. Okay, we're talking about Bitcoin. And then what happened is the transaction will be verified by the system, by the blockchain. Okay, some people say, okay, what if someone try to hack the system? Actually, when it comes to blockchain, hacking the system can be very difficult. I give a simple example. Let's say we're talking about Maybank or CIMB Click or Maybank to you. If someone managed to hack CIMB or Maybank, that's the end of it. System will be down and all that. Why? Because there's only a single entity managing the database. But when we talk about this blockchain, we are not talking about a single entity. Kita bukannya ada satu je entity dia. We have, for example, a million computer. In order to tamper with the transaction, in order to modify or to hack the transaction, you need to hack not just one computer. You need to hack the majority of the computer in the system. For example, let's say we have 1 million computer. Kita ada 1,000,000 computer dalam sistem network Bitcoin ni. In order to tamper the transaction, in order to hack the transaction, you need to hack into like 500,000 computer. Kan susah. Kalau sistem biasa, centralized database, satu je dapat hack yang centralized tu, habislah sistem down apa semua kan. But when we talk about Bitcoin, it's so difficult. In a way, it is a bit safe in the sense that it's more difficult to hack unless you have the 51% power. In other words, you manage to control most of the computer, which is not impossible, by the way. It happened, but that's different story. Okay, we can skip some of how it operate. Okay, I can go for the technical one, but then it will be very time consuming. So long story short, just take note that instead of relying on a single entity, we rely on the blockchain technology to proceed with the transaction. So we can skip all the basic formality and all that. Okay, just a little bit more before I settle this one on how it operates. When we talk about physical transaction, it's quite easy. For example, Alice want to transfer physical cash to Bob. Okay, for example, let's say we have this one gold coin. A simple example. If Alice give the gold coin to Bob, that will be the end of it. Okay, Bob has 1 token and now Alice has 0. Bila kita sebut tentang duit shilling emas ataupun sebut duit kertas, physical transfer, lagi senang. Sekali kita dah bagi duit tu, dia dah habis. Sebabnya kita dah tak ada lah. Kita dah tak ada. Okay. Alice and Bob do not need an intermediary to verify the transaction. Kalau kita sebut tentang urus niaga fizikal, guna duit kertas, kita tak perlu pihak ketiga untuk verify. Sebabnya pasal physical tu dah berubah. Okay. For example, Alice cannot give a third person like Charlie the same token because she no longer has the token to give because she already gave it to Bob, for example, kan? So bila sebut physical tak ada masalah sangat lah. Kita dah bagi habis. Bila kita bagi, yang bagi tu dah tak ada. But when about digital, it can be more complicated. For example, let's say Alice send Bob a digital token through email, for example. So now Bob have the digital token and Alice should not. But is it so? I give one example. Let's say I have a MP4. Okay, to make it easier to understand. Saya ada soft copy movie. I have a digital copy of a movie like Lord of the Ring, and then this is MP4. And then what happened is I give you the movie, MP4, the soft copy of the movie. Okay, do I still have it? The answer is yes, maybe I still have it. Not so fast. What if Alice made copies or forgery of the digital token? What if Alice put the same digital token online for all to download? After all, digital token is just a string of digital code of 1 and 0. One of the biggest problem when we talk about digital currency is the fact that it's not difficult to duplicate, right? It's not difficult to duplicate because of the technology nowadays. Even for movie, we can easily make a duplicate or a copy or a digital copy of the movie. So how can digital currency or like Bitcoin, for example, bypass this problem? So that's why I said we rely on the blockchain technology. So it's a big problem about this digital copy and all that. But if we use the ledger, we have a third party system like CIMB Click. That one is easier. When I transfer my money to someone else's account using online transaction, the bank will keep the record. But then we have to rely on the bank. The idea behind cryptocurrency is to eliminate the role of third party like bank, government and all that. Okay, tak nak bergantung pada kerajaan semua, tak nak bergantung pada bank. So who should we rely? So the answer is, instead of relying on a bank, we rely on the system. So the computer in the Bitcoin system will collectively verify the transaction. So this is also known as a decentralized ledger. Instead of having a centralized or a single entity like bank to monitor the transaction, we use this decentralized ledger. So the whole system will verify it. But there's a big problem as well with this system. For example, can you imagine the amount of electricity that we need to use if we are to rely on this decentralized ledger? Because every transaction will be collectively verified by all other computer. Long story short, it's very energy consuming. And it is a big problem and a big defect with the current system for Bitcoin. It consumes too much electricity. When a lot of people have a copy of the same ledger, it becomes more difficult to cheat. Because in this blockchain system, everyone will have a copy of everyone's transaction. So there's a lot of issue related to privacy and all that. In addition, it also take a lot of energy, consume a lot of energy. So let me look at a few more points. Okay, when we talk about Bitcoin, some people wonder, is it illegal? Is it legal? Sebenarnya ni apa? Scam ke apa ke macam mana kan? First, we need to understand the reason for the popularity. Cryptocurrency like Bitcoin gained a lot of coverage in 2013. When the price of Bitcoin jumped from $13 at that time in 2013, $13 is like what? Sekitar RM50. Kan? Tahun 2013, bayangkan, tahun 2013, satu Bitcoin boleh dapat dengan harga sekitar RM50. Satu Bitcoin RM50. Semalam harga dia sekitar RM270,000. Kan? Daripada RM50 dia boleh naik kepada RM270,000. But if you look at this one, first cryptocurrency gained a lot of coverage in 2013 when the price of Bitcoin jumped from $13, RM50 on January 2013 to around $1,200. So that one is like around RM5,000. Daripada RM50, harga dia lompat kepada RM5,000. Banyak tu. Daripada RM50 jadi RM5,000 untuk satu Bitcoin. And then in December 2017, the price was $19,000. Okay, waktu tu harga Bitcoin Disember 2017. Sebelum ni itu rekod paling tinggi, sekitar 70 ke 80 ribu ringgit. 70 ke 80 ribu ringgit untuk satu Bitcoin. Tapi sekarang ni dah rekod dia lagi tinggi lagi, bukan sekadar 80 ribu. Dia dah naik sampai 270 ribu ringgit. Okay, by the way, when people buy Bitcoin, it is not necessary to buy the whole one unit. People can just buy a portion of it. Beli nilai harga RM1,000, RM500 pun boleh. Tak perlu beli pada the whole unit. Okay, in the past, some of the issue. In the past, cryptocurrency is often associated with money laundering and criminal because people in the past always use Bitcoin to make payment for criminal activities and all that. So it become a problem. For example, the Europol director explained that the European Union Agency for Law Enforcement Cooperation estimate that around 4% of the illegal money in Europe are being laundered using cryptocurrency. Around 4% in the past. Okay, this one is in the past. Nowadays, even much higher lah. Okay, so people can buy drugs, people can buy weapon online and then make payment using cryptocurrency. Okay, because there are certain feature of cryptocurrency that can be manipulated for sale and purchase of illegal things without much detection. And then we have cryptocurrency exchanges. Okay, most people, they will not download the system and become part of the Bitcoin system or miner or anything because it can be complicated. So people use exchanger. The same way we go to money exchange. Contohnya kita nak tukar duit US dollar, kan kita pergi kepada money exchanger kan. So same. Nowadays we also have cryptocurrency exchange where if you want to buy or if you want to sell cryptocurrency, you just use cryptocurrency exchanger. A cryptocurrency exchange is any system that operate on the basis of trading cryptocurrency, allowing for the buying and selling of this digital asset. As of October 2018, kalau tengok 3 tahun lepas, we have 43 cryptocurrency exchanges in Malaysia that register with the Bank Negara Malaysia for purpose of anti-money laundering. However, despite the registration as reporting institution back then, the cryptocurrencies exchanges are not allowed to portray themselves as licensed entity. Sebelum ni, lesen tak diperlukan. Okay, lesen tak diperlukan. And there is no investor protection offered by the Central Bank of Malaysia for cryptocurrency exchanger. Okay, what happened is we have too much scam. Kita ada terlalu banyak scam. So what happened is the government passed a new order, a new law prohibiting cryptocurrency exchange trading without license. Okay, in other words, for a cryptocurrency exchanges to operate, nowadays license is required. Tak boleh main buka je. Kena ada license daripada Suruhanjaya security dulu. And recently the Security of Commission have already issued 4 license. Okay, sekarang ni 4 license telah dikeluarkan. Therefore, anyone, the audience, if you are interested in purchasing or selling cryptocurrency, make sure you use the license company. We have only 4 license company. The biggest of the 4 is of course Luno. Luno is a very well-known cryptocurrency exchanges in Malaysia. We have Luno, and then we have Tokenize, and then we have Synergy, and then there's the last one, the number 4, baru je dapat license, MX. Okay, a little bit about Bitcoin. Some people share the view that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is just scam. For example, this famous investor said, if you buy something like Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, you don't have anything that is producing anything. You are just hoping the next guy pay more. And you only feel you'll find the next guy to pay more if you think he's going to find someone that's going to pay more. You aren't investing when you are doing that. You are speculating. Okay, so in a way, this is also true. Then again, although it is very speculative in nature, the value, there's still potential, although it's very high risk. There's no denying that cryptocurrency can be very high risk. Nowadays, the price of Bitcoin is up to around 270,000 for one Bitcoin. We have other cryptocurrency as well, which is very high, but also take notes that currently only 3 to 4%, hanya 3-4% je of the world community that is exposed to cryptocurrency. Hanya 3-4% orang je yang terlibat dengan jual beli Bitcoin. Yang lain-lain tu masih tak reti apa lagi. Therefore, the potential is very big. Can you imagine right now when only 3 to 4% of the world population is involved in cryptocurrency, the value is already 270,000. For others like XRP, harga dia dalam sekitar RM4, RM5 macam tu je lah. Instead of Bitcoin ni dah 270,000. But then again, think about the potential. What if the percentage of the population that know cryptocurrency increase to 10% or 20% or 30%? So suddenly the current price doesn't seem that high. Okay, Bill Gates also complained about cryptocurrency. Right now, cryptocurrency are used for buying drugs. So it is a rare technology that has caused that in a fairly direct way. I think the speculative wave around ICOs and cryptocurrencies is super risky for those who go long. So Bill Gates punya kata pun betul juga. Sebenarnya cryptocurrency ni super risky. Dia risiko dia sangat-sangat besar sebab banyak isu semua. And there's also currently not much legal protection offered to the user or investor of cryptocurrency. Okay, let us skip to some of the more important point. Okay, digital mining. Digital mining is also a problem. Nowadays kat Malaysia kita ada banyak kes orang curi elektrik kan. Tiap-tiap hari baca surat khabar ada kes TNB bersama-sama polis buat serbuan kat atas premis-premis yang mencuri elektrik. As I mentioned before, this cryptocurrency like Bitcoin for example consume a lot of energy. Secara mudahnya bolehlah kita kata seolah-olah dia convertkan elektrik kepada cash. Maksudnya dia perlukan elektrik yang banyak. Therefore, what happened in Malaysia, many people, they steal electricity from TNB. Dia curi elektrik daripada TNB. And then what happened is TNB suffer a loss of hundreds of million. Okay, beratus-ratus juta rugi kerana activity curi elektrik. This happen quite rampant in Malaysia. So it's a big problem as well. And then there's also issue about the legal and regulatory framework. Some country they have no framework. Some consider cryptocurrency as money. Some consider cryptocurrency as property or digital asset. In Malaysia, long story short, the law consider cryptocurrency to be digital asset or securities once the condition are fulfilled. And then let us look about issues and challenges. What are the risks? There are a lot of risks. For example, electricity theft. Kes curi elektrik ni antara masalah terbesar lah bila sebut tentang Bitcoin semua ni. Electricity theft, and then about the control over cryptocurrency, about the tools for anonymous web criminals in dark market. In other words, it can be used by criminals in the dark market for sale and purchase of illegal things. And then there's issue about tax evasion, tak bayar cukai. Take note ya, sekarang ni dah kena bayar cukai kalau untuk crypto pun. And then there's money laundering issue, and for some place there's unclear legal status. And then there's also misuse for pyramid scheme. There's the issue of fraud, hacking, other security issues, consumer protection issues, copyright issues, the government losing control, massive energy consuming. So all of these are serious issue when it comes to Bitcoin. It's nampak kan macam ni? This is a common view in illegal mines. Okay, tempat-tempat curi elektrik. Sometimes dia sewa bangunan dekat dalam market ke kat mana-mana kan. Lepas tu penuh dengan mesin-mesin ni. Pada masa yang sama kedai tu sebenarnya curi elektrik. Dia buatlah ada illegal plug dia apa semua. Dia curi elektrik, so they make millions while TNB suffer million. And then there's also issue about control and all that. Because when we talk about cryptocurrency, it's not the government, so there's no real control. What happens if, for example, you lose your password, you lose your private key to the Bitcoin, so that will be the end of it. You will not have access anymore, and there's no one for you to refer to. So there's a lot of problem. And then, as I mentioned before, cryptocurrency is often used as well for purchasing illegal things using the dark web. Some people wonder, what is this dark web? Long story short, the dark web is this part of internet where the IP address of the computer cannot be detected, or it's difficult to be detected. When we talk about computer, when you wrote something from your house, for example, from the computer inside your house, the IP address or the address of the computer can be detected. Okay, the government, the authority can detect it. But when we talk about the dark web here, what happens is people will use certain browser like Tor and all that, and this browser, like this Tor browser, will scramble the IP address to make it more difficult to detect. Jadi kalau orang nak detect alamat IP address komputer tu jadi payah banyak sebabnya sistem Tor semua tu. But the truth is it's not foolproof. If the government want to detect, there's so much way for the government to detect anyway. So it's not really anonymous. If the government is determined to catch you, the government will be able to catch you. And then there's issue about tax, isu tak bayar cukai, semua-semuanya, isu tax evasion, and then we have online money laundering, we have issue with government, and then issue of fraud, hacking, security issues is also a big problem. Let's say you have Bitcoin account or you save everything in your computer, and then your computer can be hacked. So you might think, oh, it's okay, I will put all my money in cryptocurrency exchanger. Pergi ke syarikat berdaftar, Luno ke apa kan, simpan semua kat situ. Is it possible that this company can get hacked too? The answer is yes, it is possible. Like in 2014, the world largest Bitcoin exchanger, Mount GOX, was declared bankrupt. This resulted in the loss of nearly 473 million of their customer Bitcoin. So actually this is quite rampant. Kes-kes syarikat-syarikat yang uruskan Bitcoin ni kena hack semua. So it's a real issue. And then issue of electricity, habiskan duit apa semua kan. Okay, for example, even in 2018, the electricity used at a Bitcoin mining data center is expected to exceed that of all Iceland home. Okay, elektrik yang digunakan oleh miner Bitcoin ni lagi banyak daripada elektrik yang digunakan oleh semua rumah-rumah dekat Iceland, for example. So Iceland pun complain. So this show the problem with electricity and all that. And then issue scam and all. Okay, to avoid all these problems, the government in Malaysia has regulated cryptocurrency exchanges. The Security Commission has been doing a good job in issuing guidelines on recognized market, digital asset and all. Long story short, the government dekat Malaysia, kerajaan dah regulate, kerajaan dah kawal digital asset seperti cryptocurrency untuk mengurangkan kes-kes scam dan sebagainya. Pastikan hanya berurusan dengan syarikat berlesen, iaitu 4 yang saya mention tadi. And then last kali kita juga ada isu berkaitan inheritance. Sebagai contoh, kalau duit dulu, kita sebut duit pusaka dan sebagainya, nak detect tu senang. Sebagai contoh, kita check account bank dia, kita check dekat pejabat tanah dan sebagainya. But nowadays, when we talk about cryptocurrency, it can also lead to a lot of inheritance issue. Contohnya si ayah tu dia ada 10 Bitcoin. Tapi Bitcoin tu dia seorang je yang tahu. Password pun dia je tahu. So there's a lot of inheritance issue. For example, how to detect, for example, how to manage the private key. Private key tu nak simpan kat mana? Because anyone who has access to the private key can get access to the Bitcoin. So there's a lot of issues and all that related to Bitcoin. So for the solution is that, long story short, the main solution is first to use license company only. Jangan guna syarikat tak berlesen. One of my student lose 100,000. Saya ada kenal seorang student ni, dia rugi beberapa ratus ribu because the student use illegal platform. So jadi masalah bila kerajaan start ambil action. So make sure you only use license platform. And then if you want to invest in cryptocurrency, make sure you follow the 3 basic rule. Okay, this is before I end my session. Okay, the first rule is never buy Bitcoin using borrowed money. Jangan sesekali pinjam duit atau berhutang untuk beli Bitcoin atau cryptocurrency. Okay, never borrow money to buy cryptocurrency. The second one is never use money that you still need. Jangan guna duit yang kita nak guna. Sebagai contoh, nak bayar sewa rumah, nak bayar duit kereta semua. Jangan guna duit yang kita masih nak guna untuk investment crypto. Letak duit yang habis semua pun tak apa. Contoh ada duit ekstra sebulan, kita gaji RM5,000, kita ada RM500 ekstra yang memang tak pakai. So guna duit ekstra tu je, okay? First, do not borrow money to buy cryptocurrency. The second one is do not use money that you still need. The last main advice is that never buy high and sell low. For example, beli Bitcoin, tiba-tiba harga dia jatuh. Jangan jual waktu tengah jatuh. Simpan je dulu. Mungkin 4-5 tahun nanti, dia boleh naik balik. For example, if you still remember in the beginning when we look at the chart, the price of Bitcoin at one stage was 80,000. Harga dia pernah dulu naik sampai RM80,000. Lepas tu, after that, it fall to just around 5,000. Lepas tu harga dia jatuh daripada 80,000 tu, jatuh tinggal 5,000. Don't sell at that time. If you buy when it was 80,000 and then you sell when it was as low as 5,000, so you already lose 75,000. But if you did not sell, okay, don't be surprised. From 80,000, the price of Bitcoin drop to 5,000. Daripada 80,000, dia jatuh jadi 5,000 ringgit saja. But then it increased back. After like around 4-5 years, the current price now is back to 270,000. Dah naik balik kan. Kalau dia tunggu je, lepas tu tak payah jual waktu jatuh tu, boleh naik balik. So that conclude my presentation. I hope everyone learn something useful today, and feel free if you have any question to ask. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Muhammad Yazid Zulkifli. I believe both panelists have shared with us a very informative and interesting sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the question and answer session. You can write your question at the chat box and I will pass to the respective panelists to answer your questions. We have some questions here, Doctor. Okay. The first one is from CM Hakiman. Inspiring journey by Associate Professor Dr. Farahidah. My question is how long for overall process for iKool from ideas, research, legal, and finally to shelf? Over to you, Doctor.
Ya, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, Amin. Thank you very much, CM Hakiman. How long the process taken for iKool from ideas, research, legal, and final? For the idea, we actually started in 2013 or about 2012 to make to create something that easy to be registered. To prescribe drugs. Prescribed drugs, some of them may need bioequivalent study, which is more expensive and need a big budget. And for the quality parts, is much more terrible, I could say. So for iKool, it's a simpler product from the idea until to the shelf. If nothing is nothing like challenges like the Gmp is okay, the plant is okay, equipment is everything okay, inshallah. And you also already have the background on ointment process on the regulatory parts, and if 2 years is already enough to get from ideas to shelf. But for iKool, because but for iKool especially, we already have those background from our experience with earlier project, which is IJC. So for the IJC, yes, we already a lot of problems, challenges, and handle the problems appropriately, and those are our learning curves. So for iKool, it's about 2 to 3 years. Alhamdulillah. The product I selling is very fast. We managed to complete the formulation only in a week time, and we already have the competency on the analytical method. And all the stability data, everything is done. The document also very tip top, and that one only 1 week of formulation lab scale, and then we scale up. Only takes also 1 or 2 weeks and do the stability study. The stability study part will take time because we need to submit at least 6 months of X-rated data plus a year at least for the real-time stability data. So for iSedic, the fastest one to registration, it just take about 1 year. Alhamdulillah, because we already have the competency on the analytical parts and the regulatory parts. Thank you. I hope that answered the Sikiman questions.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Farahidah. We have one more question from Sister Farika Muhammad Yusuf. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Farahidah. Must the scale-up process be done in a GMP plant? Can you clarify? Over to you.
Alright. For the scale up process, scale up can happen at several stages. First, from very little lab scale, say 10 gram, we just scale up at 1 kilogram. This can happen still can happen in the lab, as long as the sample we prepared for this 1 kilo is not being subjected to the formal stability study.
It seems that Dr. Farahidah lost the internet connection now. Maybe we can have a question to Dr. Yazid. The question is from Brother Muhammad Rizwan Musa. Will Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies be the world monetary system? Over to you, Doctor.
Can
Okay, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, will Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies be the world monetary system? The short answer is no. As I mentioned before, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are not stable. I mean, the price is not stable. Harga dia berubah-ubah cepat sangat kan. Kita tengok hari tu harga dia RM40,000, tiba-tiba dia naik jadi RM200,000, lepas tu jatuh balik jadi RM140,000. So this roller coaster movement make it not practical for any government to use Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency as monetary system. Kita tak boleh gunakan Bitcoin ni kalau untuk tujuan sebagai duit untuk beli barang dan sebagainya. Before this, we have certain government that accept Bitcoin as a legal tender. Baru-baru ni ada satu negara ni dia terima Bitcoin sebagai legal tender. Shortly after the announcement, after the government accept the Bitcoin as legal tender, the price of the Bitcoin drop. Kan, harga Bitcoin betul jatuh because it is normal, the price is very volatile. So rakyat dia pun berdemo ramai-ramai, merusuh, marah semua kan, sebab dah habis dah duit apa semua kan. So Bitcoin cannot be used as a world monetary system, but as a investment it can be very interesting. Okay, some of you might argue that, oh, we can lose a lot. We can lose a lot. Yes, but you can also gain a lot. Dia memang macam itulah bila dia high risk kan. Dia boleh naik sampai 10 kali ganda dan dia boleh jadi zero. But think about this before we proceed. Let's say you have 10,000 ringgit. Contohlah kan, ada 10,000 ringgit. What is the maximum amount that you can lose if you invest the 10,000 ringgit? The answer is 10,000. Kalau kita ada 10,000, paling banyak kita boleh habis semualah. Kita habis semua, habis 10,000. For example, you buy XRP. XRP is a famous cryptocurrency. You buy XRP at the price of 10,000 ringgit and then you lose. Tiba-tiba harga dia jatuh 10,000 jadi 1,000 kan. You lose your 10,000 ringgit. So the most you can lose is just 10,000 ringgit. But it can increase many times. For example, dia boleh naik sampai 10 kali ganda. You invest 10,000 ringgit, it can go up to 100,000. Dia boleh naik, dan baru ni pun dia naik daripada RM1 XRP, dia naik jadi RM9. So actually this is something important. The most you can lose is just 100%, but the increase can be numerous time. Dia boleh naik sampai 8-9 kali ganda semua. So this is actually a very interesting investment. It's very high risk, but as I mentioned, the most habis duit yang sedia ada je, takkan sampai hutang. But if it go up, it can go up numerous time. Berkali ganda boleh naik. So my suggestion, kalau ada duit lebih setakat 1,000 ke apa tu kan, try lah simpan. Kalau habis 1,000 tu pun tak mati pun. Tapi kalau naik, boleh naik sampai 10 kali ganda kan. Dapat 10,000 boleh beli apa motor ke apa kan. Tapi sebagai currency memang tak boleh lah. Memang tak boleh harap lah sebagai currency. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We repeat the same question as just now from Sister Farika to Dr. Farahidah. Must the scale up process be done in a GMP plant? Can you clarify? Over to you, Doctor.
Okay, actually I dah jawab tadi. Rupanya dia ni
We
terputus.
lost the connection.
Okay, for the scale up.
Yes.
Connection, alright, just ni. For the scale up process, there are several stages. For the scale up that from let's say we prepare first 10 gram to 1 kilogram, we can still prepare in the lab environment. As long as the sample of 1 kilogram tu, you just want to play around, we just want to identify and finalize all the critical quality attributes and not to be subjected to formal stability study. Okay, for the samples to be subjected for formal stability study, the data stability study can need to be this kind of sample need to be prepared ideally, or I must say very compulsory to be prepared in GMP plant by using the actual equipment, by using to be used later for commercial manufacturing. Okay, because we also need to identify critical processing parameters of the equipment when we for registration. These are another things that we need to submit. CQA and CPP, critical processing parameters of the equipment. So when we do this using the actual, this can be the data on the CPP can be obtained and established. And because of the samples need to be prepared in the GMP equipment is being cleaned using high grade water. There's no microbial contamination could happen, and very minimum risk to happen in GMP environment. Uh, it is very ideal and very compulsory to perform in GMP because we want our fully and not to complete halfway and then you have to repeat again and again. That's why GMP
Yes.
environment is very critical to prepare samples for stability study. Over to you, MC. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. From we have question from Rakibul Hussain. Sir, I believe this one for Dr. Yazid. Sir, what is the future of cryptocurrency? Will it sustain?
Okay, what is
Over to you,
the...
Doctor.
Okay, thank you. What is the future of cryptocurrency? If I know the answer, I will be a very rich person. The truth is that no one really know the future for anything. But if we talk about cryptocurrency as investment or as digital asset, as I mentioned before, the truth is that despite the hiccup and sometimes it go up, sometimes it go down, the truth is we need to take note about the increased interest from the public. Ramai orang semakin berminat kan. Ramai orang semakin berminat. More people are having this interest on cryptocurrency. Currently, only 3 to 4% of a work, this is average all over the world. Only 3 to 4% of the world population in every country know about cryptocurrency or has invested in cryptocurrency. So think about the potential for cryptocurrency in the future. Even at the current stage, where only 3 to 4% of people are involved in cryptocurrency trading, investment, and all that, the price can already be this high. Of course, the price can go down. The truth about cryptocurrency is that if you know the basic, the future is quite good. The meaning is like this: what happened if the price of Bitcoin fall? Okay, for example, let's say the price of Bitcoin now is 270,000 ringgit for one to Bitcoin. Macam mana kalau harga dia merudum jatuh? What if the price suddenly fall from 270,000 ringgit, it fall to 5,000 or it fall to 10,000 ringgit? For most people who know cryptocurrency, they will be very excited. They will say, this is the time for me to buy Bitcoin. I have lost my opportunity before when the price increased up to 270,000. I cannot buy it back then. But now the price has crashed. Now is the time for me to buy back Bitcoin. As long as the supply is limited, the potential is high. The problem is paper money and other things because sometimes they have unlimited supply. Faham kan? The supply tu bila unlimited, harga jadi tak ada value lah. If the supply is unlimited, the thing can be without value. But for Bitcoin, for example, and for many other cryptocurrency, the supply is limited. They have a limited supply of cryptocurrency. Therefore, the potential is actually very high. If you ask me about the future, Bitcoin is for those who are willing to play long term. Okay, if you buy today and tomorrow you want to sell, maybe it's better for you not to buy cryptocurrency. But if you are willing to buy Bitcoin, even just for example 1,000 ringgit, let's say you buy other cryptocurrency like Bitcoin Cash or XRP or even Dogecoin, even if you just spend like 1,000 ringgit, but if you are willing to let it go, willing to forget it for like 4 or 5 years, and then you check back after 4 or 5 years later, that is a recipe to make a lot of money. Okay, it's not about how much you invest, it's about how long are you willing to wait. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have one more question from Madam Hashimah Mustafa. What is the acceptance level for commerce on halal medication as compared to conventional medicine? Over to you, Dr. Farahidah.
Okay. Thank you for the questions. This is halal medicines or halal pharmaceuticals. Uh, the latest news that we receive on halal pharmaceutical is that it has become way of life. Whenever there is halal being mentioned, it transcends all the religions. It gives added advantage to the medications, not only to serve the Muslims patients but also other people. The halal brings the meaning that the product is safe, the product is toiban and prepared in hygienic way. Okay, but the acceptance level for halal medications, the awareness parts on the consumers' perspective, I think still need a more awareness program on this halal initiative for halal medicines. Of course, even though it's still low, of course there are some portions of the communities will raise the issues on halal medicines, especially for vaccines. I think that's all my answer.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Farahidah. We have a question from Sister Rauda Osman. Which exchanger is the best in the world now to go into crypto investment? Over to you, Dr. Yazid.
Okay, we have hundreds of different cryptocurrency exchanges all over the world. So which one is the best one in the world? First, we need to understand the meaning of the word the best. Okay, if we are talking about services, I take note that we have some very big cryptocurrency exchanges in other country which are not licensed in Malaysia. Ada beberapa syarikat besar yang tak berlesen kat Malaysia tapi dia besar lah, dia ada servis banyak semuanya. Okay, the point is like this. When you want to go for cryptocurrency exchanger, you should go for a licensed one. And let me explain why. In Malaysia, the government has already issued law saying that it's illegal to go to cryptocurrency exchanges which are not licensed. I give a simple example like Binance. Binance is one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanger in the world. Okay, syarikat Binance ni. But this Binance is not licensed in Malaysia. This Binance is not licensed in Malaysia. Some of my student, I know, some of my student they even purchase cryptocurrency and all from Binance because this Binance is a very big company and then they have a lot of services and all that. Lebih banyak jenis mata wang kripto nak beli pada harga lebih murah dan sebagainya. But the thing is that when it's illegal, you need to understand there's consequence for this illegality. Recently, for example, in July 2021, the Malaysian regulator proceed with enforcement actions against Binance for operating without license. So when we talk about which one is the best in the world, it's not about the size of the company atau kita boleh beli paling murah, jual paling mahal. It's not just that. We need to see whether it's licensed or not. So in the context of Malaysia, I will say Luno is still the best lah. If you go for Malaysia, go for Luno or tokenized. Luno dengan tokenized ni top 2 dekat Malaysia. Diorang lesen, security commission pun, security commission monitor them and all that. And so far using their service, I think they are professional, no problem with Luno. They are licensed, highly regulated and all that. Do not go for illegal platform like Binance and all that because you can suffer loss. A student of mine lost 200,000, rugi dalam 200,000. Orang dah pesan banyak kali dah, jangan guna illegal platform. Dia guna juga. Lepas tu tiba-tiba dah government take action ni terkejut lah kan. So do not do that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. We have a question from Sister Haslina Mat. How did you do the halal evaluation? Can you explain more? I believe this question belongs to Dr. Farahidah. Over to you, Doctor.
Okay, on halal evaluation of pharmaceuticals rather than cryptocurrency kan? So
Yes.
for halal, for iKool kita fokus ke iKool. Evaluate using the internal halal committee of iKool. When I was there, we created this internal halal committee. We created a SOP for this is only valid for internal halal evaluation of any products of any items in the iKool. So that is why very important to find industry partner, or else as a researcher that do not have industry partner as yet, we just do the halal evaluation. But first of all need to go to halal training, how to conduct. And for us, Alhamdulillah, we have been to halal training and we know how to conduct and come out with halal SOP endorsement. So first, we will check the ingredient raw materials to be used in iKool. All 7 or 6 raw materials to be used. We need to contact the supplier. The supplier is the supply chemicals for the lab, but supplier that can that supply in bulk raw materials. Residing in China, suppliers, or India. Okay, these are the 2 countries that have that are the major producers for the raw materials and in fact packaging materials too. So we contacted them, senang aja, Alibaba or Trade India. Okay, we contacted, we find and we select. They need to have halal certificate. Just take it easy, just SMS them or WhatsApp them and ask or email them, ask about halal certificate whether they have or not. Major big companies, they do have materials halal certificate for the plant extract, but for the excipients or bases, very difficult to get halal certified manufacturer. Okay, so first is the halal certificate. If they don't have, we need to ask them to provide us with halal declaration plus accompanied with production process flow for the raw materials. Usually they are very good. They will very accommodating. Some of them, but by this year, I think many of the manufacturers already aware on the halal already aware on the halal requirement, that is to provide a production process flow. Some of the companies will ask us to sign NDA first, non-disclosure agreement, before production process flow. Some will not ask anything. Okay, so just ask and we we will evaluate the halal based on the production process flow, as the COA, Certificate of Analysis, and also MSDS. Okay, the same thing when halal inspectors from JAKIM do the inspection, JAKIM will also check the invoice where we purchase to verify that we purchase exactly from the supplier that we submit all the documents of halal. So halal evaluation based on this halal endorsement SOP. And if there are two ingredients that do not have halal cert and they cannot provide us, but they can provide us the COA, the standard document, and MSDS standard document. So what we did is to check on the nature and origin of this raw. Okay, say the raw materials. Let's say it is the nature is from petroleum. So where can this petroleum has any potential contamination? They do not have. So based on this, we can classify this product has a very minimum risk to get non-halal. Okay, so these are the normal. Thank you. Over to you, MC.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Farahidah. Thank you to all the participants for your support and cooperation in this program. We will share with you email address. Oh, we have one more question, Doctor, from Brother Johari Muhammad Daud. Is there any data that SKMM traced any illegal activities using outsiders proxy or VPN in scamming people for crypto program? Over to you, Dr. Yazid.
Okay, thank you for the question. When we talk about scam and cryptocurrency, we take note that there are various creative scam out there. Sangat banyak scam. The simple theory is like this. When people say something that seems too good to be true, most of the time they are too good to be true. Okay, if they promise you a return of 10 times, a return of 50% and all that, the truth is they cannot promise such return because the return is from Islamic perspective ada unsur-unsur riba lah kan kalau dia dah janjikan keuntungan semua. Okay. Okay, and more importantly, when we talk about cryptocurrency, it's a very high risk investment. The truth is there's no guarantee. If you deposited, if you invested 10,000, you can lose all 10,000. Anyone who promised like a 50% return in 3 years and all that, this is all ridiculous. Okay, because cryptocurrency is a very highly speculative and a very high risk investment. Okay, talking about like illegal activities using outsider proxy or VPN and all that, the truth is that yes, people can use this dark web and all that, and it can be a little bit difficult to trace and all that. The main concern is that why should we use this kind of platform? As I mentioned repeatedly throughout the program, just go for license exchanger. Guna syarikat yang berlesen aja. No need to use this VPN, this illegal platform or dark web and all that. Once people start proposing all this fishy transaction, just avoid. Apa-apa nampak meragukan je, nampak ada unsur-unsur scam ke apa kan, elak je. Just go for transparent platform like Luno, Tokenize or Synergy or MX, then it's safe. And it is not necessary for you to use third party. Kalau tiba-tiba dia nak jadi agent lah apa semua kan, karut semua tu. Because the truth is that when we talk about cryptocurrency trading, you don't need agent. Kita tak perlu agent-agent bagai. Okay, this is because it's like you want to go to change money to US dollar. You just go to money exchanger and then you change ringgit Malaysia to US dollar. No need for you to use agent, right? Same concept when it comes to crypto. If you want to buy or sell crypto, just do it yourself using licensed platform. Do not go into any of the scam using proxy and all that. Thank you. Yes, that will be all from me.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Yazid. Okay, I believe, can we entertain one more last question, Dr. Yazid? We have
sure.
a question from our Madam Naraini Mohtar. Gold and cryptocurrency both are long-term savings, which will have a better give back. You mentioned anybody who have a savings go for cryptocurrency of Ringgit Malaysia 1K per month. Which is better? To buy cryptocurrency or to buy RM 1K of gold, approximate 3 grams of 999 or 24K gold? Over to you, Dr. Yazid.
Okay, long story short, let's say every month you wanted to invest 1,000 ringgit. Tiap bulan ada extra 1,000 ringgit. So you're not sure what is the best investment for this 1,000. Is it better for you to buy gold or is it better for you to invest it in crypto like SRP or Bitcoin or other type of cryptocurrency? Okay, if you want the safer one, you can go for gold. Gold is safe. Okay, when we talk about gold, kita sebut tentang emas, we have this intrinsic value. Kita ada harga minimum. For example, harga emas, the price of gold can drop. Harga emas akan jatuh. But is it possible for price of gold to drop from 200 something to just 10 ringgit or 20 ringgit? Dan says no. Harga emas tak akan jatuh jadi 10 ringgit kan. Kalau jatuh jadi 10 ringgit, kita belilah barang kemah banyak-banyak semua kan. The truth is that when we talk about gold, there's an intrinsic value in the sense that it will not fall too much. It will not fall too much. At the same time, the price of gold will not increase too much as well. Harga emas takkan tiba-tiba naik jadi RM10,000 1 gram. Dia takkan tiba-tiba naik jadi RM2,000 1 gram, kan? Because the price of gold is more stable. It will not drop too much because there's intrinsic value, but even if it increase, it will not increase too much as well. But when we talk about cryptocurrency, it's a very high risk. Dia boleh naik sampai 10 kali ganda, sampai 20 kali ganda, kan? Macam Bitcoin. A few years back, the price was at one stage, the price was just around RM500, sekitar RM500 je. Bayangkan, daripada RM500, sekarang ni dah naik sampai RM270,000. Kalau waktu tu kita beli dua, we buy 2 Bitcoin at the price of RM1,000, RM500 for 1 Bitcoin. Now we already have a house. Kita dah dapat rumah dah, rumah setengah juta kan? Sebab 270,000 kali 2 dah 540,000. So it's not really the best thing to compare gold and cryptocurrency for investment. This is because it depend on your appetite. Are you a high risk person? Adakah anda jenis yang habis high risk high gain, or you like to play safe? If you like to play safe, my advice is to go for gold. Gold is much safer. But if you are willing to gamble it all, but it's halal by the way, the Sharia Advisory Council already confirmed it's halal, so it's not really gamble lah. But it look like gamble. But then you can go for high risk, high gain. So it's up to you lah. Solat istiarah dulu ke? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you to both of you. Thank you to all participants for your support and cooperation in our program this afternoon. We will share with you email address of both speakers in the chat box so that you may ask questions directly to them should you need more explanation, or maybe you are interested to collaborate with them for the next project. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our session for today. On behalf of Dar al-Hikmah Library, IIUM, we would like to thank you all for making time in your busy schedules to join us for this Research Fast Talks series number 3 with the team Experts in Action. Before we end, I would like to inform that we will be having our 4th series on November, same time, same channel, with another 2 experts will be in action. Stay tuned with us and block your date on our next event. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so that you will not miss out any interesting events and contents uploaded here. Once again, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the respected panelists and participants for your presence. We would also like to apologize for any shortcomings and inconveniences. Hope to meet you again. Wish you all a pleasant day and stay safe wherever you are. Let's end our session with the recitation of Tasbih Kaphara. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanakallah. With that, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and thank you.